Hey guys, Corey Correa here. Welcome to bLU Talks, and I hope you enjoy this video. Okay, so hello again and welcome everybody. I say welcome like that because this is basically like a live podcast interview within bLU Talks. So it's a little different than a talk, and we like to kind of mix it up a little bit. So this is a chance for us to interview somebody in a live setting, and we get live audience interaction. So I'm here with Catana today. And basically, Catana, how I usually open things, instead of me kind of reading a bio, I read your bio earlier, but instead of me reading it and mixing up words, I usually get the guest to tell us a little bit about themselves. So can you tell us a little bit about who Catana is?
Absolutely. My name is Catana Malinowski, and I am an international best-selling author, award-winning political advocate activist, and an artist, speaker, podcast host, and I'm extremely happy to be here with you today.
Amazing. So I'm going to dive in right there. Just anybody who knows me knows I don't have a plan. I don't have it's like I'm going to go where it takes us. So I always like to listen to what the guest said and then go off of that. And so when you mentioned the advocate part of things, what was the catalyst for that? I'm always fascinated by when somebody's a strong advocate about something. Obviously, there's something, usually, that drove that. So what is it in your life that drove that?
I've actually known that since I was 4 years old. I have always wanted to save the world or help people. And it started when I was 11. I started volunteering at a convalescent hospital. And it just continued to grow from there. And then about almost 20 years ago, it grew into political reform advocacy. And that was to help bring a more neutral and empowerment space to all the people instead of just a few.
I love it. And so when you mentioned that happening at 4, my follow-up question on that, I'm curious, do you feel that you were and are, because I don't know, I'm sure if you are, you always are, but do you feel you were / are an empath?
Yes.
Now, and does everybody know when I say the term empath, because it's kind of a new age term in the last 15 years, but basically, I mean, the description, I don't know the exact description, but basically my wife and my son are one, so I know the traits of it because I go through it every day, but basically they feel everything heavy. Like my son feels everything in the house, and his energy controls the house because he feels it so heavy. If he's watching, when he was young, if he was watching somebody on the screen crying, he would literally say, turn that off, and if we didn't, he'd start crying. So like they feel everything. And that's why I'm curious, if you knew at 4 that you want to be an advocate, that tells me you were probably an empath from the day you were born.
Yes. I used to cry with the commercial in the 70s with the Indian that was standing next to the freeway, and the person threw the piece of garbage out, and it landed at his feet, and he had the tear. And it to this day, it still impacts me.
That's amazing. Well, and I will say, it's funny because my son, we go back and forth. When I think about it, we go back and forth on whether he's an empath because he seems to feel things deeply. He jumps in to protect other kids when they're getting bullied, but he's also a butthead at times. And then I start saying, well, maybe he's just an 8-year-old empath. You know, can you, I mean, I'm sure that not every empath in the world doesn't also, you might feel everybody like other things, but you still might want it your way, or you still might battle with somebody. Not everybody, but I'm sure there's some empaths that feel everything, but also say, and he's at that age, I still have to win. Even though I feel your pain, I still want to be the one that wins. I think both can be the same, or they can be together at the same time. So I just add that in because our son, we're still on the fence. So as far as, being an advocate, and then you mentioned now it's more went down the political realm. I guess, was there a catalyst for that as well? Because you said you knew you wanted to you help people from the time you're 4, but obviously, and you said more recently, it's gone that path. So what was the catalyst for that?
The catalyst for that was when I realized that that I didn't fit into the typical political realm, and realized I was an independent. And then I started Googling it. Surprisingly enough, in 2008, I did find an organization that said, yes, you're not alone. And they were out of New York City. And I emailed them and said I would like more information. In 5 minutes, they called me. And in 15 minutes from that call, I was the founder and president of Independent Voters of Nevada. So
Oh, wow.
I went full in, took the deep dive.
I guess so. Wow. From not knowing it was going to exist
Yeah.
to being the person running it,
Yes.
basically. That's pretty powerful. And so if we go to that stage in your life, how challenging was that? Like, how was that scary? Or was that, I'm so into this, I don't care, I'm just all in?
Yes to both. So two things can be true at the same time, and I'm learning that more now than ever. It was scary as all get out because then I had to go out and engage. I had to get up on big stages, little stages, and help people understand what being an independent even was, because there's still a lot of people that don't know what it is. And I ended up doing a lot more teaching than reform, but I was successful at helping bring about some reforms. Then it led to me running for state senator.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, you're all in.
Yes.
I guess I'm curious. I mean, maybe this is me sort of outing myself in terms of understanding it, but would an independent, now, I'll preface this by no, it's not an exact match, but would somebody that's fairly neutral, would they be closest to an independent?
Yeah.
Or is that a separate thing altogether? Like if they're neutral in the sense that it's like I'm not, because I guess with an independent, you're still all in politics. You're just not in on one side or the other as much, maybe. But our neutral might be just like, I'm not either, or it doesn't even affect me.
You can embrace pretty much all of it because there are some areas where I'm conservative. There are some areas where I'm more liberal. There are some areas where I'm in between. A big part of it is being open to not knowing and being willing to take in information and change your mind. So that's a big part of it.
Yeah, we'll move in a different direction, but I will say, just on the politics side, that seems to be the hardest part, is the fact that it's really the world for, well, especially North America has been really two parties forever. And so it feels like people maybe have been sort of grown up with a certain, this is what I believe, and it seems like it's hard to change the masses in that.
Yeah.
Like, in other words, you might get people over different times at independent, but it feels like there's still these two big masses that are exact opposite extremes, and that seems like that would be the constant challenge.
Yes, and we actually have a lot more parties than just the two. And by our Constitution, they're not allowed to hog the stage, so to speak. And that's what some of us are here to remind them, and that there are other options. And ultimately, we're in it for the same thing, to walk side by side and to bring the power back to the people.
So if we, and I know this is still sort of tagged onto that, but then moving closer to the rest of the work that you've done, what do you think is the most frustrating part about and the most rewarding part about trying to make change happen? Because change doesn't come easy. We're resistant to change in general as people, I think, overall. So obviously it doesn't happen all the time, but when it does happen, what's so rewarding about it? And then what would you say is the hardest part about trying to get people to change, or get things to change, or make change happen?
Oh, the most rewarding part of it is watching people light up who you speak with, and they feel like they've never had a voice, and all of a sudden they feel empowered. And it's that alone is worth every minute of it. The most challenging part of it is getting the establishment and the people within it to hear you, to see you, and to accept anything that's outside of their mindset. Fear drives a lot of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's the thing. I mean, what do they say? There's only really two main drivers in the world, like fear and desire, basically. Reword it as you wish, but being afraid something's going to happen, or wanting something that, that doesn't, like, that you really want to happen.
Right.
And when you look at marketing, those are the two things people choose between. And sadly, what they say, even ChatGPT says, the bigger of the two is fear. Fear of losing something, fear of something happening. Using that in your marketing is more effective than getting people to really want this and be excited, which is sad, right? I mean, to me, I think it would be great if you could actually focus on, wouldn't you love to have this, versus what if I take this from you? But anyway, that seems to be the two drivers. So I think it's the same with change, right?
Yes. even for ourselves within that structure, because I know that there are times that I've sat with myself and gone, what is it that I'm really wanting? What am I desiring? What would I like to see the outcome be?
I love it. Well, and for yourself, how important is, I talked about this earlier today, but I talked about mindset, and again, with mindset, it's the same thing. You can either have a negative mindset, you can have a positive, obviously you can have a neutral mindset, like you can be like, whatever happens, happens. But with the work that you're doing, how important is mindset? Because you would face a lot of challenges and you would face a lot of doors closed, like you said, and trying to get through to people and it doesn't happen. So how important is it to maintain a certain mindset?
Oh, it's extremely important to not take things personally. That's the biggest, I think, hurdle, is to learn not to take it personal. Because a lot of things people haven't heard before or haven't experienced before, or have experienced but didn't have a name for it.
And so I guess if we go down the path, you were talking about your bio, we go down the path of the book side. Mm-hmm. So you're a best-selling author. Can you tell us, whether one or multiple, but can you tell us about one of the books or a book that you were involved in, whether as a writer or co-writer or what have you?
Yes, I was a co-writer in 2 books, but the one that I'm most passionate about is the one I just published, wrote, and illustrated myself. It's called Why Are You Happy? And it's about finding your calm in the storm, which I think really embraces everything we deal with in life. And that one is, in fact, I just gave one away at the airport.
Oh, wow. I love it. So that's the beauty of books,
yes.
Being able to give of whether it's reading because you said illustration as well.
Yes.
So when being illustrated, is it illustrated like around who? Is it like, is there a person, like a character? Is it a fictional character? Is it you? Or are there people in it? Like, I'm just curious what the illustrations themselves are.
Yes, it's actually Happy, a little blue whale who was born too small. And it's his experience of getting separated from his mother in the Monterey Bay area. And he goes through and experiences all these different sea creatures and all these things under the water. And they're scary. But he remembers what his mom told him. Just take a breath and stay calm, and you'll be able to figure your way out.
And so you say you illustrated it. So have you, and I know you mentioned that you've been in the arts world as well
yes.
for years, but have you always been, whether we call it a artist, illustrator, whatever term you want to put on it, have you been that since you were 4 as well? Like,
yes.
Have you been that your whole life?
I have advocacy, art, and writing. Those are the 3 things I've been doing since I could pick up a pencil.
I love it. And the reason I asked about that, the reason I was curious is because the illustrator side, like I went to art class when we were younger, and I graduated from like stickmen to be able to put hair on stickmen. Like that's about how far I've gotten. So I'm always fascinated by it because I create art. Like I'm a musician, write music, do stand-up comedy. Like it's all writing, it's all art. But to actually draw something or bring a picture to life, no, boy, no. Like I don't have that at all. So I'm always fascinated by people that do.
I can share in that with you. I do play 7 different instruments, so I'm very passionate. It's the arts. We'll just encompass that. And I do have a degree in arts.
Wow. And so I guess the other side, do you have a memory, like I talked earlier about Catalyst, but do you have a memory from when you were younger, when you just knew? Like, in other words, was there somebody in your family that played an instrument? Was there somebody that came over? Was it you just started drawing and went, wow, how did I do that? Like, I'm just curious, what was that first moment that you remember being in the arts world?
Oh my goodness. It would be 6th grade when we did posters where we had to create an image and a poem. So that would be when I knew they went together and that it was something that I had extreme passion for.
And we're starting to wind down, but I'm curious on that side of things. What was your experience like in school around the art? Like, in other words, did you have teachers that encouraged it? Did you have people that discouraged it? Because I'm always curious, in my life, my biggest influence was my mother. And I was raised by a single mother. My father lived nearby, but wasn't really a part of my life. And my mother influenced almost everything, but also my mother never said, you can't do it. Like anything I said, I'm going to sing. and play music. And when I first started, I wasn't singing. I don't know what that was. But she didn't sit in the room with me, but she tolerated it. And she didn't say that, ooh, you better stop. She didn't encourage it, but she also didn't discourage it. And I believe for me, that was a big part of why I felt I can do this, is because I never had somebody saying I couldn't. Yeah. But some people have somebody say they can't, and that becomes the catalyst. So I'm just curious, did you have haters? Did you have lovers that helped, that encouraged it, or what?
I think it was more of a neutral space, like you're talking about. I had family members that my grandmother played organ. And so I learned how to read music naturally from watching her. And I started with the trumpet in 5th grade.
Wow. Yeah, again, same thing. I remember 5th grade. I played, what's that thing called? the triangle? That's what I played in 5th grade. Same thing. Playing guitar and piano and bass was all hard won. It was. Yeah. I never learned to read music. It was all self-taught. Yeah. To this day, and I've been playing for years. I have CDs out, and I still can't tune the guitar by ear. I still pick a tuner, and I used to feel bad about that until I listened to Johnny Cash live at Folsom Prison, and he handed the guitar, and he said, "Here, can somebody tune this son of a bitch?" And I'm like, if Johnny Cash can't tune a guitar, it's okay if Corey can't tune a guitar. Yeah. So just put that out there. As we do bring things, not to a close necessarily, but pretty much winding down, I'll ask you what I consider to be the unofficial, but maybe most important question. For those that are listening to this, watching this, in here in the room as well, that want to follow you, learn more, see what you're up to, where would you send them?
You can connect with me on Facebook. You can connect with me on LinkedIn, Instagram. And yeah, those
are the places.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Catana, this has been an absolute pleasure. I thank you so much, and keep doing the great, important work you're doing.
Thank you so much, Corey.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.